Welcome back to the channel. I took a little bit of a break. I took like a month and a half off. As you can tell, the hood is back on the truck, so some progress has been made. And also, before we do go back, I do have a project in the garage behind this truck. Some of you may know what it is, but when the truck is done, we're gonna start focusing on that because I want to get that one squared away. A couple more episodes to go. As you can see, the hood is back on it, but this is me in the future. Now let's go back to the past and pick up where I left off. My parts for the clutch did come. Let me show you exactly what I got. There it is, my clutch master. And I got the right adapter. This is an M12x1, if it focuses, M12x1 to AN-3. So that will work on my clutch line sitting right there. And that's where I need to install the clutch. I did do a quick mock-up. I know it is gonna fit, but what I need to do is I need to open up the hole here for the master cylinder. So that hole needs to be wallered out just a little bit more to fit this. So let's go ahead and do that. Once we do that, we'll drill some pilot holes, run some bolts in there, so that'll be fully mounted. Then we can take measurements on the pedal of where this is gonna sit permanently and go from there. So let's do that real fast. Let's open this thing up. Hopefully we get it right the first time. I do not like backtracking. Now let's see if I can find one of my step bits. This is a total mess over here. We got all my fuel stuff out of the way. We got all my rags out of the way. This is trash, this is trash, this is trash. Flat surfaces become storage, and I cannot stand that. Here's my step bit, but I don't think it goes big enough. It does not, but I got a fatty. Somewhere around here, I got a bigger one. Where would you be hiding in there? All my tools are in my junkyard bin. There it is. There's the bigger one. Found it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stick this in that hole, and we're just gonna step it up one at a time until I get the right diameter. I want it to fit. It's either gonna be 1 1/4 or 1 3/8. Let's figure it out, shall we? Almost took a chunk out. That just fell apart. I should have grabbed one of these things. So I stepped it up one more. Let's see how well it doesn't fit. Close, but it's not it. I bet that's it. Now we also got, and I have not shown you guys, is this thing on me? How do I say it? I also got a remote reservoir for the clutch, because that's where this comes into play. This thing swivels, but I'm gonna be running another reservoir for it. You'll see, you'll see. That is gonna be absolutely perfect for me. And this will go right here underneath where that fitting is, and that's where it'll live. Let me show you what that remote looks like that I'm talking about. So this reservoir will sit right here, and then that line will go right there. So that's how I'm gonna be filling up my clutch master. Might even mount it right here. I need it somewhere where it's not gonna be intrusive on the hood. I don't know exactly, ooh, I'm dripping everywhere. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna put it yet. I think that hole originally was for the speedometer. I think, it's a total guess. But we're gonna utilize it for this. This actually goes right up next to the clutch pedal. So that makes it nice. And it holds it in there. I don't know what throw this thing has. I don't want to blow this thing out. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research before I fully commit to pushing in the clutch. Probably gonna have to build a stop off the floor, but we'll get there when we get there. The only thing that I'm questioning on this whole thing is the firewall gonna be strong enough for me to push in and out of the clutch all the time. I don't know, but if I end up having to weld it up and make a plate, I can make a 1/4 inch plate that'll just adjust the pedal a little bit, just a 1/4 inch closer to the firewall. So that's not the, I'm not gonna lose sleep over that. We're gonna mount this the way it is first and go from there. If I need to add structure, I will. These things never had a hydraulic clutch in them, so I'm now installing one. Like I was saying earlier, it was all a mechanical clutch. You just push the clutch in and it pulls linkages, and pushes on the slave cylinder. Or the fork, the slave fork, something like that. We're gonna modernize it a bit. So let's find the right drill bit that goes inside here smoothly. And we're gonna step it up to that. Felt like I was leaning down too much. Is that better? Let me go inside and see where that rod sits. I like it right there. That's where I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna mark a hole. Hopefully I can see that Sharpie mark. I might even start the pilot hole with that on there. Hurt my hand. Ouch, I friggin' punched that. Man, that one hurt. Did it hurt or did it feel good? Oh my goodness. Step it up to the next one. I'm dripping blood. You know what? I'm dripping blood all over my paint. I'll be right back. Now, stuff that we got at the junkyard. We got an LS drive. We've got drive bolts. We got a clutch reservoir, brake switch, not a lower radiator hose. I still need that one. Clutch fan, still need that one. I'm gonna go over to my friend Kevin's house tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Sunday. Today's Friday night. We're gonna go over there Sunday, pick the clutch fan up. Lower radiator hose, I can go to a parts store and get that, but I got all of those things. I also got, yeah, the alternator bolts that I needed. So alternator bolts, so we can bolt that thing down. Got that. I also wallowed out that hole for the clutch master, so that 3/8 bolt fits way better. We're gonna go ahead and bolt that thing down. I wanna snug it up. It's not gonna be perfect because I don't have the other bolt in it. That's okay. What I wanna do is mark out the clutch lever so I can drill a hole in it. So when I push in the clutch, it actually hits this part right here and pushes it in. Now, like I said, I don't know what the stroke amount is on this. Most clutches or most clutch masters are between like 1.1 inches and 1.5 inches. Now I gotta think, when you push the clutch in, you're thinking, oh wow, well that's a lot more than 1.5 inches. Well, it's like a fulcrum. The higher you go to the pivot point, the less it actually moves. And the longer you are away from your pivot point, the longer the swing is. It's like a teeter-totter. You're getting thrown up on one side. Well, if you sat more towards the pivot point, you won't go up that high. So that's what we're gonna do with this. Let's bolt this baby down and mark out the clutch pedal. Oh. So I'm gonna go in there from the inside and put a nut on that bolt. If I can reach it well. You're not gonna believe this. Good news, good news. The way this rod is in there, I need it the opposite direction. So that pedal, that rod is going, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Give me a second here. Wedge the master cylinder right there. You know what, let me bolt this thing in. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. If I can get some good light in here for you. So this is the rod, right, for my clutch master. But the issue is if I have it on this one, it doesn't sit flush. And if I push it in, it binds the master cylinder up. So what I'm gonna have to do is mount it onto this surface here, which is actually where the pivot is, up there. It actually pivots off that one. What I'm going to do is cut this rod down and re-weld it so it's center on here, because it's going to be a lot happier sitting there than it will be right here. I'm just going to mess that master cylinder up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this about level where I like it, and then I'm going to mark the rod and then cut it and weld it so the eyelet is sitting in here with these pedals flush. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try and I'm not gonna be able to do this two-handed, so what I'm gonna do is let me mark it, then I'm gonna pull the master cylinder out, and then we'll go ahead and cut it and weld it together, if that makes sense. Because it's gonna be impossible for me to do this all together. Let me just kind of put you up here and see if you can get some kind of visual. I want this pedal flush, but if you just let it dangle there, it'll be about center to where that one is. Now I want that eyelet about right there. It should be about right here. So what I can do is I can pull that pedal assembly out, drill a hole here, and then mark it on that one. I'm gonna try and get a better angle and see if I got that done right. Now what I can do is I can measure the throw on it. So let's go ahead and get the clutch master out. Let's get the pedal assembly out. Let's start getting this thing wrapped up and fitting right. It's gonna take a little bit, but we'll get it, we'll get it. Doesn't have to be perfect the first time, right? I'd prefer if it is. We're doing something that usually doesn't need to be done because people don't do this. You know, those things from the factory weren't hydraulic clutches. We're just making it a hydraulic clutch. So let's do it. Let me pull that master cylinder out and then pull the pedal assembly out. Man, that worked out good. Almost too good. Almost like I knew what I was doing. I knew there was gonna be a lot of back and forth on this, and that's okay. There's the mark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the tab off about right here, and then figure out where it needs to go, and then cut the other part and weld it back together. Now I'm gonna take that pedal assembly out. So I'll catch up with you guys here in a second. So I marked it in the same spot as the other side. Let's drill through it. I don't know if I'm gonna need a center punch. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Now let's see if I can step it up. Ouch. Clean it up from the other side. Just keep stepping it up. Where's that master at? Right here? Almost that size. Countersink it a little bit. Let's go ahead and cut the clutch down. Cut the clutch arm down. Then we should be able to bolt it on there. Hopefully everything lines up right. It doesn't have to be precise, just way better than it was. It was at such a weird angle before. Plus what I did was I referenced a picture of what someone else did, and that hole is pretty close to where the other guy has his. So I'm sure it's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but I do need to get this eyelet right there. That's what I need to do. So let me go ahead and put this here, and let's go ahead and cut this thing down real fast. Gosh, I got so much junk over here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it, and then I want this eyelet in the center of where I'm cutting it. When I'm done. I'm gonna mark center of that. I'm gonna cut it there. And then when I re-weld it, it'll be where my original mark was. And hopefully when I re-weld this, I can get it as straight as I can. Might have to take a couple pieces of metal and sandwich it on there. Ooh, that's loud. Big thing is I don't want this thing getting real hot. I'm gonna wrap this here so no slag burns the rubber and hurts the seal. I'm just gonna tack it, and then we're gonna see where it lands at that point. Let it cool down, then we'll tack it again, let it cool down. But I wanna throw a bunch of weld into it as well, because I want that thing to hold. We're gonna step this down to a 110. My 220 outlet's way down there. And I'm not gonna try and bring it all the way over here. Got the gas on, start the machine on. Make sure I got plenty of wire, and I do. Gloves, because that thing's gonna be hot. Normally I don't wear gloves, but you know what? That thing's gonna be so flippin' hot with how close my hand's gonna be. Time to shorten this rod down. That's about as straight as you're gonna get right there. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Wear gloves, okay? Don't do what I'm doing. Get as much penetration on there as possible. Let's go ahead and get this baby installed, eh? George, eh? So we shortened it up. We shortened it. How much did we shorten it? We shortened it that much so we can go on a different part of the pedal. I bet this is it. If not, we could remark it, cut it, re-weld it. It ain't the end of the world. So let me go ahead and install the pedal assembly. After that, we'll install the clutch. Then we could probably run a bolt through that and hopefully at least get it somewhat in the ballpark and where we want it. Now remember, we don't want to bottom out that master cylinder, right? Because we don't want to damage the internals on that. Reinstall time. There we go. Let's install that master cylinder real quick. Nice and warm, it actually feels kind of good. That was a success. Let me bring you in and show you what that pedal looks like, shall we? We got a hydraulic clutch, not blood yet, but we got one. It'll be on its way soon. So there it is, all hooked up. See the nut on there, the bolt on there. I bolted it through the pedal, and you can see, watch when I step on it, I'm gonna step on the pedal. I'm gonna push right here. You can see how it goes in. See, nice and straight, all the way flush. With that pedal all the way down, that rod is perfectly straight. Okay, that's what you want. So we've officially installed, but I still need to do that other bolt hole. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. That's gonna be pretty tough. I might have to get a real small drill bit from this side, go in at an angle, and then go from the inside and blow it through the other side. So let's go ahead and knock that one out real quick, but I'm gonna say that was a success so far. We've got a hydraulic clutch installed, all homemade. I gotta pull that master cylinder out anyway because I need to finish welding it. But as of right now, I'd say that's a victory. I think I can do it without it getting too hot. Trying to think of any reason why I can't mount this right now. Okay, where did I just leave off at? I had to let this thing charge, so there's a little bit you missed. I got the master cylinder installed with the remote reservoir. What I did was I just pumped the pedal about 200 times, not even, like 50 times. And then I took this line, which is my bleeder, and I bled it. I just opened up that bleeder down here and just let it fill up inside this jar that's on the ground that's gonna hurt my epoxy floor. And what I did was I just let it drip, and then it ran pretty smooth without any air in the system. It's a pretty cool part about these bleeders. And that was almost empty, then I just refilled it. And that was really it. I did about another 20 pumps, bled it again, and now the pedal kicks back pretty hard. When I first initially started doing it, I pushed the pedal in, and it got stuck to the floor, and I thought at that point I pushed past the seal and hurt the master, but I think it's fine. Nice firm pedal all the way down, and then it almost like it's hitting the pressure plate and opening up. So I think we're okay there. Let me take you inside. Let me clean up my mess real quick with the brake fluid. But now that that's done and we got the pedal assembly just about reinstalled, let me show you exactly what I did. There it is. You can see the rod is installed, fully welded. And I also got the brake assembly. See if I might be blinding you, but I got the brake assembly all attached as well. So hopefully that should work well. I also got the throttle pedal installed with the throttle cable. But that pedal's good to go, I think. It's nice and firm all the way down, and it stops I think we got a hydraulic master installed on a truck that never had it. Took a little bit to get it, but we got it. So there it is, all installed. And then it goes up to the reservoir right here. This came out of a first gen S10. Actually, I think this one was a second gen S10. I have another one over there from a first gen. I was missing the cap on it. When I did the junkyard crawl, you can kind of see which one I grabbed and which one I used. But that's all hooked up, guys. I call that one good for tonight. Clutch masters installed, clutch masters bled, reservoir installed, pedals reinstalled. Getting that second bolt on that master took about 30 minutes. I ended up turning the camera off for that because I just would have absolutely eaten my battery with that one. So we're gonna call it tonight, guys. I'm gonna go inside, take a shower, clean up. My son's got a basketball game tomorrow, so that's what we're gonna do. But huge progress on this. I am stoked. I think we've gotten pretty far, and we're gonna go ahead and call it.